Hello and welcome into episode 5 of the Versus podcast. My name is Matt, and alongside me today are Garrett and Devin. Today we will be discussing the Warriors winning another NBA Finals and how it affects Steph Curry's legacy, talk about the upcoming NBA draft, and look at the MLB season this far. Before we dive in, we would just like to ask all of you that are watching to please like this video and subscribe. We are trying to make it to 100 subscribers, and we are almost halfway there. So your support, and that would be greatly appreciated. Now, with that said, how are we doing today, boys?
Doing good.
Yep, doing good. Chilling. It's a great Sunday. Perfect Father's Day,
Let's dive into the NBA Finals, where the Golden State Warriors are champs once again after winning Game 6, 103-90. What are your guys' initial thoughts on the Warriors winning once again?
I guess I made a mistake choosing the Celtics. I should have known better. I should have known that the Warriors have all the experience and the Celtics have no hope, but they showed me up again. Still not a big fan of them. Don't like Draymond Green, but I respect him a lot. It's about my opinion. I mean, it was a good series, but still tired of them winning every other year and all that.
Garrett, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was just dominant dynasty. I mean, I feel like you can officially call it a dynasty now.
Yeah.
After the fourth time they've won. But yeah, I think it just does great things for Steph's legacy, showing that, all the LeBron fans, they can't make the excuse that like he had KD to get him through all those finals and win it. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty dominant. The Celtics just did not show up. You could tell that they were not ready for the moment. They did not rise to the occasion. I felt like it was only Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, and who was the other guy that showed up? Oh yeah, Robert Williams. I feel like those three were the only three that showed up in Game 6. The others were just nowhere to be found, especially Jason Tatum. That was really bad. But
yeah,
I think this definitely puts the Warriors up there with the great dynasties. That's for sure. It was a great performance. I think kind of going into it, we were talking about how we thought it was going to be a great finals. Like it was going to be super competitive. I saw it going 7 games and like each game being close. It kind of seemed once the Celtics lost, they were kind of holding on to hope the whole year that they hadn't lost back-to-back games in the postseason. Once that happened, it kind of just felt like the wheels fell off, and it was kind of done for them there. But going back to the Warriors, where do you guys see them ranking up as like the all-time dynasties? Talking about the Bulls with Jordan, or some of the Celtics dynasties with Bill Russell back in the day, or when they had Kevin Garnett and all them in the 2000s, or even the Spurs dynasty. Where do you guys see the Warriors ranking in all of those ones?
I don't know if I should leave an opinion on this one because I'm going to act like I know what I'm talking about when I really don't. Like, I don't even know. I know Bill Russell, but I don't remember like the dynasty. So it's hard to compare it to like older dynasties. I don't think they're comparable to, I don't think they have surpassed like MJ and the Bulls. Maybe the Spurs, but those are the only ones I'm like comfortable with giving my opinion on.
Yeah. All right. I just came up with this in my head, my ranking for dynasties. Got number 1 is MJ and the Bulls, 6 for 6. I don't think that'll ever be topped. At second, we got Kobe and Shaq's Lakers with the 3-peat. I think that's just, after the Bulls did it, you have to go to the next team that 3-peated. And then I got the Warriors, which I don't know. It's kind of weird because they have the main core 3 with Draymond, Clay, and Steph, but KD was there for 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that 2017 team with KD, I don't think any team in the history of the NBA is going to ever beat that team. So, I mean, I guess, yes, it is a dynasty, but I feel like those 2 championships that were back to back was kind of like a dynasty of its own. But then I have the Spurs after that. But yeah, it was mainly those like top three. But
Yeah, I think that MJ and the Bulls will always have something ahead of everyone because they went 6-0, and also the only reason they really had any time in between those two three-peats was because Michael Jordan decided to step away and retire and different things like that. But something that the Warriors haven't been able to do is win 3 straight. They had those 2 in 2017 and 2018, but they didn't have that third one. And so I think if they want to be up there with the greats, I think that they're going to have to win a couple back-to-back, or even if they're not back-to-back, they don't lose many more because they've lost 2, I believe, out of the 6 they've been in. Yeah. So it would definitely be interesting to see where it racks up. Do you guys see them winning any more, or do you think that this is kind of towards the end?
I mean, I can definitely see them being contenders for this championship. I don't really see them not being contenders until Curry, Draymond, and Clay retire. I think that they're just like they have the experience, they know how to get there, they know what they need to do and take care of to put themselves in the best position to like win a championship. But yeah, I mean, I really don't think that they might win. I really can't see in the future, but yeah, I think that they'll definitely be contenders for a long time still.
Yeah, I agree with Garrett. I don't think Clay and Draymond are the same players as they used to be. Obviously Clay because of his injury. So I'd say I'd give it like 2 years more with Curry just dominating and then them competing. But after that, I don't see I see it ending.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and jump into something that we kind of talked about last episode. You both seem to agree. The big topic has been Steph Curry's legacy, kind of like Garrett said a little earlier, but both seem to agree that he wasn't top 10 all time. So we wanted to go ahead and give the viewers our top 10 NBA players of all time. So Garrett, let's go ahead and have you start us off with it. Give us your top 10.
All righty. So at number 1, I have Michael Jordan. Pretty easy. Second, I have LeBron. Third, I have Kareem. Fourth, I have Wilt Chamberlain. Fifth, I have Magic Johnson. Sixth, I have Bill Russell. Seventh, I have Larry Bird. Eighth, I have Kobe Bryant. Ninth, I have Shaq. And 10th, I have Tim Duncan, the big fundamental. That is my top 10.
Dev?
All right. First, I got MJ. Second, I got Bron. Third, Kareem. 4, Magic. 5, Bill Russell. 6, Wilt. 7, Kobe. 8, Shaq. 9, Bird, and then Curry at 10.
Oh, so he's coming in with Steph Curry at the top 10.
Yep.
So what makes you change your mind to think that Steph is top 10?
No, I thought last podcast we said we were debating top 5. Was it top 10?
Yeah.
I said he wasn't top 10.
I think it was.
Either way.
I think he said.
Oh,
top,
was it
top 5 point guard or something like that?
Maybe I did say top 5 all
regardless,
time, but
I have him over like Hakeem. I just think he's proven himself. They had Clay again and Draymond and most of the same pieces this year. But like I said earlier, it's not the same Clay and Draymond. Like Curry pretty much put the team on their back. Jordan Poole wasn't being as consistent in the finals. And I think it was just mostly dominated by Curry. Sorry, my cat. But yeah, I think he's shown or proved that he's top 10 now.
Yeah. I mean, he legit put the team on his back. I mean, he obviously had help with the supporting cast of Draymond, Clay, and Andrew Wiggins, which I think Andrew Wiggins was the best support player in this series. But Draymond Green, I feel like especially in Game 6, he just flipped the switch. I remember what I was watching. He was a demon, getting offensive rebounds, making all these type of plays. He was turning up in transition, just finding the right guys, and they went on a 21-0 run, I think, in the first half. So I think he was one of the biggest reasons for that run.
Sweet. So I'll kind of finish up with my top 10 list. I think I have all the same players as Garrett, just in separate order. But I got number 1, Michael Jordan. No debates. All you LeBron fans out there, please stop. He doesn't have the same stuff. But I do have LeBron James number 2. And then some people might disagree with this, but I have Kobe Bryant number 3. I think that he is one of the most dominant players to ever play. So I got him at number 3. I have Kareem at number 4, Magic Johnson at number 5, Wilt at 6, Bill Russell at 7, Larry Bird at 8, Tim Duncan at 9, and then 10, finish off with Shaq. So
that's interesting. Yeah. Interesting. I think for me, if you put Kobe all the way up there, I don't know. This is kind of a crazy thing to say. But if you have Kobe that high, I feel like you have to put KD that high around in the top 10 because KD is such a dominant scorer. Kobe said it in one of his he was like a guest on a podcast. I remember it's pretty popular clip, but he said KD was the one guy he never figured out how to guard in the NBA and before he retired. I mean, like, if you're saying that Kobe's that dominant, I mean, like, he obviously has more championships. But talking about, like, scoring ability and just overall talent, I feel like you have to put KD in the top 10 if you have Kobe that high.
Yeah. I think that KD and Kobe, like, that KD has almost as good of, like, offensive. I think that he's great offensive. The thing that does it for me is that Kobe waited and stayed in LA and learned how to win a championship there and did everything that he had to do there, while Kevin Durant was a little baby and had to go to a team that he was up 3, a little baby because he was up 3-1 against a team, ended up losing, then decided that he doesn't have enough competitive juice to be able to try to beat that team, but to go ahead and join that team instead. It's the weakest move that's ever happened in sports, and that's why he'll never touch a top 10 list, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I don't think it's weak. I actually, I mean, at the time, it was definitely a big deal, a betrayal of some sorts. But I kind of respected him for it. I think he did what was best for him in his career, and he obviously was successful when he moved to Golden State. I mean, they should have three-peat, but he, hurt his Achilles. Clay tore his ACL. I mean, they're three-peating if those two players don't get hurt. So, I mean, I feel like, yes, you may be right that he should have stayed and learned how to win a championship like Kobe did. But, I mean, I kind of respected him to, go get his.
Dev, I'll let you speak, and then
Kevin Durant doesn't have the it factor, man. He'd have 0 championships right now if he did not join those Warriors. Because any team he would have left OKC for, the Warriors would have beat. Look at him on the Nets right now, man. He's a fraud.
I wholeheartedly disagree. You could say that about anybody.
Gary, here's the thing. I feel the same way about – I wouldn't say it's as big, but LeBron, whenever he's left to go get his championships, I feel the same way. I think that if you stay and are loyal like someone like Steph is, that's why people view him so highly. But I think that we're seeing that Kevin Durant can't win a championship by himself or as the biggest guy, because I would say that Steph is just up there as one of the best guys with him. But Kevin Durant doesn't have what it takes to be able to win a championship by himself. He tried to do it, and all he did was chase rings. And then he wanted to try to prove himself because he wasn't liking people like Draymond Green holding him accountable. So then he went to the Nets, and you know what he does? He gets swept 4-0 in this round's playoffs against the Celtics. So he's a weak player, and I don't know if he'll ever have what it takes.
He's a fraud.
Uh, I'll disagree, but I digress. I feel like we're obviously gonna get nowhere with with just bantering back and forth. But yeah, I respect him. That's all I need to say.
He's the cupcake.
Now we are going to switch over to talk about the NBA draft, which is this upcoming Thursday, June 23rd. Joining us now is Caleb DeVries to discuss some of the top picks. Caleb, thank you for joining us. And first question for you is, who do you think the top player is in this year's draft?
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. There's definitely a clear top three in this draft with Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, and Paolo. Personally, I'm a big Paolo fan. I think if I were a GM, I think maybe more NBA ready as Paolo. The other two seem to be a bit more projects. Jabari is very athletic. That's kind of his draw, but the shooting is iffy. And then Chet is Chet. I mean, everybody's seen what he can do, but he also kind of played a Zion William-esque level of high school opponents. And then at Gonzaga, he was good at times, but never really flashed when maybe you would have expected him to. So for the sake of the Magic, who have the number one pick, if that stays the same, I think Paolo is probably their best pick. They have some good pieces. I think they could be a playoff team with Paolo if they kind of move things the way they need to, sign the guys they need to in the offseason. But I think for the sake of the situation and the sake of the time, I think Paolo is probably my number one player.
Wow. Dang. So go ahead, Dave.
No, I haven't heard anyone say that Paolo was the number one player. But
yeah, I've heard a lot of people be high on Jabari, but not Paolo. Gary, you have anything to say?
Hey, if I'm a GM, I don't like Paolo Banchero, because he loses like 20 pounds a game or something like that. See, if I'm a GM, that's just unhealthy. You can't have one of those guys on your team who's cramping up like LeBron in the finals in San Antonio. You need to have a consistent guy who's healthy. Definitely not Chet Holmgren because he's as skinny as a stick. He's not NBA ready. I would say, for me, the best prospect in this draft is Jabari Smith because he's the most like KD. And you know how we all love KD here on this podcast, and we're big KD supporters. So Jabari.
I don't know if I consider him close to KD, but I agree. I think he is the most, or I'd take him number one over the other top two guys. Personally, that's who I want the Thunder to pick. I do not want Chet. In fact, I'd rather have Paolo over Chet. I don't trust Chet. He reminds me too much of Poku, and I don't like Poku. So I don't want him on my team.
The Thunder got a lot of guards, though, I feel like. So
yeah, but I heard we might trade Lou Dort. I'm saying
possibility.
Lou Dort package with the 12, try to move up. We'll see.
The Dortcher Chamber? Why would you get rid of him?
Well, let's go over to another question that we have for you, Caleb, is what is a player that is not really on people's radar that you think could be a very good player in the NBA coming up?
So I kind of have two. I know that kind of defeats the purpose of the question, but one of them, Devin and I have been talking about quite a bit lately, and that's Dyson Daniels. I have not mentioned that I am also a Thunder fan. So we also have, I believe it's 12 is our second pick. And Devin and I are both hoping that we either trade up and get Dyson Daniels somewhere in like the 7 to 8 range, or he falls to us at 12. Either way, I'm happy. But he's kind of gone mainstream, I guess, is the best way to describe it in the last couple of weeks. So if I had to pick someone who I guess was maybe more of a sleeper, it'd be Benedict Mathurin out of Arizona. I think a lot of people didn't really know who he was until the tournament last year, but he was balling all last year. He can get buckets. And I think he's a good option for somebody in the lottery range who's looking for someone, like I said earlier, Paolo, who's NBA ready. He can come in, score right away, whether it's off the bench or in a starting role. I think his defense may need some work with Arizona's play style. They're pretty up tempo. Didn't really have to sit down and guard a lot like he will in the NBA, but I think that he has some of the skills that you need. He's able to be a ball handler and he's got size. So I think both his NBA ready and then his ceiling are good options as kind of a sleeper on the later end of the lottery. But yeah, Dyson Daniels, I guess I don't know if you can consider him a sleeper anymore, but he's my number one guy to kind of keep an eye on. But then Benedict Mathurin is also another guy that's kind of going under the radar a little bit that I think could have a big impact right away and maybe challenge for Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
Dang, yeah, I think that Benedict Mathurin had a really good job. Had a really good last year. He had a good year before that as well. But I think that it was good. He's definitely someone that I think that could help out a team. Garrett, I know that you had mentioned some guys that you think that are sleepers as well. So we wanted to give you the chance to be able to list some of those too. Who are some of your sleeper picks?
So I got two guys here that will immediately elevate your team to a championship level team. So first I got EJ Liddell, easily the best player in the Big Ten last year. Not Keegan Murray. He choked in the first round. I mean, Ohio State didn't, EJ Liddell, he won his first game when they were the higher seed, I believe. So, and then I got Malachi Branham. He's going low under the radar. He is probably the best. He's just a bucket getter. I mean, I don't really know how else to explain it. He's got hops too. He went to LeBron James high school, so I mean, he has to be like the best player, the second best player ever now. So he's got a lot of high expectations coming into this draft. If I'm a GM, I'm calling him up saying I'm going to take him whenever he's next available. If I were the GM, I'd take him number one overall, but that's just me. But yeah, those are my two guys.
Well, both Ohio State guys, correct?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just wanted to put that out there.
crazy how that happened.
Just wanted to.
Interesting.
Yeah, just wanted to put that out there for anyone that doesn't know. Garrett is a Ohio State basketball fan, but we'll move on. Sticking with the Big Ten, some of their prospects. There's been a lot of rumors that I've been seeing around that teams are wanting to trade up to the 4 spot where Sacramento is, with the possibility of taking Jaden Ivy. So, Caleb, what do you think of this possible move, and what do you think of Jaden Ivy as a prospect overall?
Yeah, so as I kind of mentioned before, there's definitely a clear top 3 in this draft. So if you're outside that top 3, you're probably looking at who is the best option at 4 and what can I do to get to 4. So the Kings are in a good spot. I think they can get a decent haul because I think there are some good players. I think Jaden Ivey is probably number 2 on that list. I think he's right behind Keegan Murray. I think Keegan Murray just does too much to pass him up at 4 if you have that opportunity. Jaden Ivey is great. I think he's going to be a really good player. He's got all the skills you need, but Keegan Murray is big and he can shoot. And in the way that the NBA is trending, I think that's probably a little bit more important. Jaden Ivey was maybe a little bit more inconsistent in college, especially with his jump shooting. He did have the ball in his hands a lot more and was required to do a lot more. But I think Keegan Murray has a higher ceiling than Jaden Ivey. And I also think he might be a little bit more NBA ready to kind of be a plug and play. So if there was a team that was looking to trade up with the Kings, it probably wouldn't be someone who's in the lottery already, someone who's maybe on the border of playoffs or in the playoffs consistently that's looking to get a key piece either to their bench or maybe to their starting role. So I think someone trading up to that 4 spot should be looking at Keegan Murray first. And then I think depending on situation, you could take Jaden Ivey, but I think Jaden Ivey is a solid pick at 5, and I would stick with Keegan Murray at 4.
Garrett and Devin, what do you guys think? If you had an option at number 4 between those two, who are you taking between them? Devin, let's start with you.
I'm taking Ivy. I just think he's the better player. I think Murray will be good, but I just don't see how you don't take Ivy there. So I'm gonna disagree with Caleb a little there. But yeah, if I'm the Kings, I'm taking Ivy.
Garrett?
If I'm the Kings, I'm taking Keegan Murray. I feel like he just fits their needs more than Jaden Ivey would. I feel like, with De'Aaron Fox, I feel like you would need some like a bigger guy to just kind of like go back and forth. I mean, they did get Sabonis the last trade deadline, but I feel like Keegan Murray, just like develop him, get him to be like a consistent scorer and contributor. I feel like he would fit the team better than Jaden Ivey would.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off that, I think Jaden Ivy and De'Aaron Fox are very, very similar players. So if the Kings do stick with that pick, I have a hard time seeing them draft someone who is going to kind of play the same play style. Now, obviously, if they trade the pick, De'Aaron Fox might be involved, and who knows how that would shake out. But I agree with Garrett. I think Keegan Murray kind of fits what the Kings need a little bit more. He can maybe play the 3 in the NBA with Sabonis either at the 4 or the 5, depending on what they do with some of their centers. I agree with Garrett, though. I think Keegan Murray kind of slides in that offense a little bit better than Jaden Ivy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if the Kings stick there, I could see them going that way for sure. But it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. But we just wanted to say thanks so much for all your insight on that, Caleb. We really appreciate you joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
Our last topic for this episode will be just to talk about the MLB season, which is nearing the halfway point. The standings up to this point are we have the New York Yankees leading the AL East at 49-17. We have the Minnesota Twins leading the AL Central 38-29. We have the AL West with the Astros being 40-25. The Mets up top in the East 44-24. The Brewers and Cardinals tied at 38-30 in the Central. And then we have the Dodgers that are about a half game up from the Padres, and they're 40-24. Which team has impressed both of you the most so far this season? Garrett, let's start with you.
I mean, I feel like this is probably the most popular answer. It's the Mets. Especially after last year, they had a great first half of the season. Everything was looking good in the first half of the season last year, and they just fell off in the second half after they got Javier Baez, which is surprising. So, yeah, this year they've obviously turned it around. The bats are alive and well. Starling Marte's found the fountain of youth again. And the biggest thing is like they don't have DeGrom like pitching consistently since he's been hurt. So they don't have their best pitcher, and they're still, at the top of their division playing really good baseball.
And Scherzer's been hurt most of the year. He started the year, but has been out for I'd say about a month or so now. It's been really impressive to see them so far. But Devin, what's your most impressive team so far?
I'm going to go with the Yankees. I mean, everything is just clicking for them. Aaron Judge is, in my opinion, the best player in baseball right now. I feel like that's the opinion of most people. Their pitching is doing a lot better than people thought. Their rotation is killing it. So I'm going to go with the Yankees. I think they are the best team in baseball right now, and they will continue to be.
It's hard to see the Yankees not being the best team in baseball right now. 49-17. They just lost. The Blue Jays came back and won that last game of the series today. But, I mean, the closest team next to them is the Blue Jays are 38-28, which is a good record, would be pretty much competing in any division, and they're 11 games back. So it's hard not to say the Yankees, but the team that's been really, really impressive to me, maybe not the whole season, but recently, is the Atlanta Braves. They are turning it on. They got Acuna back. They're a team that won a championship last year without Ronald Acuna Jr., who is up there with Juan Soto as two of the best young players in the league right now. So it's hard to go against them. Their pitching staff needs to turn it around a little bit more for them to be considered one of those top contenders, in my opinion. But, I mean, they're 5.5 games back in the Mets, and I want to say that the Mets have the best record in the NL right now. So the Braves are really impressive to me. They made that trade to get because of Freddie Freeman leaving and bringing in who's the first baseman again? Matt Olson, right? Yeah, Matt Olson. I almost said Matt Chapman, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he went to the Blue Jays. But Matt Olson, I think that he's going to be really good for them for a long time. I think that he's a really good player.
He's been playing really well for them.
The Ozzie Albies injury is going to hurt them for a little bit, but hopefully after they get him back, they can continue rolling and be able to compete at a high level. But let's go ahead and dive into kind of halfway season. Who you guys, if the season were to end today, who your MVP and Cy Young candidates would be for both the NL and AL. And Devin, let's start with you for this one.
Yeah, so I think my first one's going to be pretty obvious because of what I just said, but my AL MVP is going to be Aaron Judge. And then for NL, it's going to be Paul Goldie. And then for the NL Cy Young, it's going to be Joe Musgrove, and then AL Shane McClanahan. That's my fantasy pitcher right there. Boy's putting in work right now. I don't think he's leading the AL right now, but give him some time. By the end of the year, he's going to be that guy.
It's crazy how the Rays always seem to find the fountain. Like, just their system always works, and they just always, it's always someone new that comes up that's a huge pitcher for them. But yeah. Garrett, how about you?
Yeah. So I have the same exact MVP candidates for both AL and NL. At AL, I got Aaron Judge. His bat's just on fire, leading the AL and the league in home runs. I'm pretty sure, big slugger. Only thing that's the problem with him is his defense, and it's not even that bad. And then I have Paul Goldschmidt. I mean, he had an insane month of May.
How long was that hit streak? 22?
I think it was 25 games.
Yeah.
Had the hit streak, just absolutely insane. Hit over 400 in a month, which is very, very impressive. Leads the league in batting average at 340, around 340. So yeah, Paul Goldschmidt, obviously, he's my homeboy. Love him. And then for the NL Cy Young, pretty obvious answer is Joe Musgrove. Just an insane first half of the season, just about as good as you can get for a pitcher. So Joe Musgrove. And then the AL, I have Nestor Cortez from the Yankees. The Southpaw, I really like him, probably because just his vibe as a pitcher, he breaks the mold of like a normal pitcher. He's just a very likable guy, especially for being on the Yankees. You don't have a lot of likable guys on the Yankees. But Nestor Cortez, I feel like he's how would I compare him? He's the Russell Westbrook. He's the prime Russell Westbrook of the MLB. I feel like he is like a hustler. He hustles. The plays he makes when he has to get to first base, cover the bag. I mean, these are plays that have nothing to do with getting you a Cy Young award. But I just really like Nestor Cortez, and he has a 1.94 ERA right now, which is fourth in the league. So I think he, if he just keeps improving on that, I think he'll be the Cy Young.
Yeah, and you gotta love that mustache that he has there.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Stash.
It's great. Yeah, for sure. For me, I'll start with NL MVP. Same as you guys. I got them both the same. I don't know. There's some people that are bringing up Manny Machado, which I think he's having a great season, but I don't think you can go against what Paul Goldschmidt is doing right now. Like you said, he hit over 400 for the month of May. His batting average right now is 344 overall for the whole season. That's crazy. 16 home runs, 58 RBIs, and an OPS of 1.047. What I love about Paul Goldschmidt is home runs are a big part, and like you love seeing that, but like he just plays an all-around game that I love. Like he's got 3 stolen bases. I love his overall game. Knew that something like this was going to happen once the D-backs traded him. I mean, if there's a decently good all-star player that is traded from the D-backs, just expect him to be great. I mean, you think of Didi Gregorius, Max Scherzer. The only guy that I can think that isn't like that is Patrick Corbin. But I mean, he even got a World Series ring. So, but Paul Goldschmidt is just having a phenomenal year. It's really great to see. I think he's such a great guy. And so you always love that. And then Aaron Judge, you just can't go against what he's saying. Average of 305, 25 home runs, 50 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases with an OPS of 1.036. Like he is just popping off. It's like, I feel like you're just looking through and like looking at the summaries of games, and he's got 25 home runs. That man is the smartest for not taking that deal that the Yankees offered him. He's going to get absolutely paid. He is crazy good. And then going over the Cy Young, I start the AL. I got Justin Verlander, 39 years old, and he's still doing this. He has got a 2.3 ERA, and got an 8-3 record as a starter. I think that he's just got what it takes to continue doing what he's always done. The Astros still continue to look good. I didn't know how I was going to feel about them after losing Carlos Correa, but they are still popping off. So Justin Verlander is my AL Cy Young right now. And then kind of just like I said, Joe Musgrove, and then you can't go against it. 8-0, hasn't lost all year. He's got a 1.59 ERA so far. So Joe Musgrove is going off and helping the Padres to stay relevant in the NL West this year.
Yeah.
Well, to end this episode, we would like to end it how we always do, with a passage of scripture shared. So Garrett will be sharing with us today. So go ahead and jump right into it, Garrett.
So today I have Joshua 1:9. It says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." I just find this passage very peaceful, especially, in today's world. There's a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of hatred towards each other, and just knowing God's with you wherever you go, it's a very peaceful reminder, just to know that He's always got your back and He's always by your side.
Yeah, that's a great scripture. Great scripture to share. I mean, God's always with us, and I think that that's just something everyone should know, and everyone that listens to this should know. So thank you for sharing that, Garrett. And we would just like to thank you guys once again for joining us for this episode. Please do not forget to like and subscribe this video to help us grow to that 100 subscriber mark. We can do it, guys. Come on. And then just make sure to follow us on Instagram at versus.podcast_, on Twitter at versus_podcast, and on TikTok at versus.podcast. Thanks so much, and we'll see you all in the next one.